Hi, everyone. This is Terrified of AI with the fourth installment of this fun series that I've started. At least it's fun for me, where I interview different members of the AfterHour community that are either doing unique things or have interesting stories or that I just feel like would give a good interview. Um, a little bit of background about myself is I have a decade plus of financial professional experience, but not a lot of experience in trading per se. More long-term investing and the more nerdy stuff around tax code and planning and things like that. But it's the reason I started this series is to get in the mind of some of the great traders that we have on AfterHour and selfishly learn from them, and hopefully you guys can learn something as well. I'm really excited for this one because I have DoubleDownToWin in for this interview, and he has created a pretty cool due diligence AI. I call it the AI Nightmare Bot, and we'll get into that at some point during this interview. But thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to do this.
Yeah, it should be fun. So I just always start off these interviews with giving you the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure, absolutely. So I am 37 years old, Texas boy, born and bred. I've got a wife. We're coming up on 9 years of marriage, 3 kids. I've got a 6-year-old and twin 2.5-year-olds. They keep me very, very busy. Outside of that, I'm a business owner, part owner of a MDR service cybersecurity company, and I am also creating a fintech company right now, hoping to launch in March. Outside of that, just big into cars, big into coding, and big into woodworking, actually.
Woodworking, very cool.
Yeah.
What part of Texas? I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too specific.
No, that's fine.
It's a huge state.
Yeah, it's massive. You could drive for 13 hours and still be in here. No, I'm in the Dallas area.
The Dallas area, very cool. Are you a Cowboys fan?
I have to be.
All right. Well, I'm in Philly, so I guess we should end this interview now.
Yeah, sorry. So sorry. It was fun.
Anyway, so how long have you been part of the AfterHour community?
Yeah, so I started midway through October, so I actually haven't been a part of the community that long, but I am fixated with it.
I am as well. I think it's a really cool concept that people can come and there's kind of full transparency around accounts. I mean, it can be abused in certain situations. And we're also having this conversation about an hour after SIRJACK just had that post about improvements he knows he wants to make. So hopefully good things to come.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that drew me to the community was how open it was, and really was one of the few that was, put your money where your mouth is, and I appreciate that. So, everybody has to have some skin in the game for me to, kind of believe in what they're preaching, so to speak.
Awesome. So I always start off the first section of these interviews with getting to know how you got started with investing. So what first inspired you to start investing?
Yeah, really 2 main things. One, right out of college, I got started in a startup company with 2 other individuals, and it worked out really well, and we ended up getting to sell our company to a larger firm. And being young and dumb, I did one smart thing, bought a house, and then the rest of the money I just threw away and partied, just young, degenerate stuff. And that was kind of a wake-up moment when I got to the end of that cash and was like, oh, I am not where I thought I was. And that kind of started the urge of pushing risk management in my life. So you'll see me in the app always pushing, take the gains when you can, be careful of the volatility, don't risk, too much. And that's the reason why I burn myself. So I speak from experience when I say that. But the other one was my mother unfortunately got divorced from a person, and through that divorce got some stock. And it being a stock in a company that was in tech, I knew a little bit about the company and where they were going, and requested that my mom hold on to it for another year, 2 years, and it would be worth a lot more. Unfortunately, she saw me waste my money and didn't believe me. Fair. And so she sold and missed out on a lot of money, almost 3x if she had waited for 2 years. So those two things just really kind of got me started into looking into my finances and how I could do better. And that's kind of what started my journey.
Very cool. Yeah. There seem to be, at least from some of the larger accounts or the ones that I'm interested in following, a common theme where either they started off with nothing or they went through some sort of milestone in their life that led them to take investing a little bit more seriously. So that's very cool to hear.
Yeah. And I also started out very, very humble beginnings. Just kind of got lucky. So it's a common theme for people who push risk management. We've either not come from anything or we've been burned, or a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm. So when you were just starting out, did you have any mentors or guides or resources that you used to learn, or was it just kind of plug and play and figure out what works for you?
Yeah, first starting out, it was really nilly, looking for those lottery tickets every 3 seconds. And it was a very humbling mentor, the market. So as I lost a lot of money, I reached out to some other connections that I had made over working with in the tech industry. And there were 2 people now that I've created a company with that really helped me understand that it's more of investing long-term, slow plays, compound over time and makes more of an impact than trying to YOLO every 3 seconds. So that was very helpful, them having me take a step back and say, hey, look, what you're doing is really stupid. Stop doing that. Stop chasing trades. Stop looking at things that have already, gone up 200% and then jumping in, because you're just wasting money. So the market one was a humbling experience and a humbling mentor. And then the 2 other individuals
that you still currently work with?
I do, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. And please just say that one more time. How should you invest your serious money for the long term?
Slow and steady wins the race.
I think the app needs to hear that,
100%.
Especially recently. I mean, it's always fun for some of us that have, I'm not a larger account, but I'm not 5,000. It's fun for us to look at penny stocks, but that's a very small portion of what I do.
Yeah, like this challenge that I'm in right now. I love this $2,000 challenge because it's something that anybody can really get into for the most part. And a lot of it is just kind of simple trades that I will do with larger accounts as well. But this is one it allows me to play a little bit more. In my other portfolios, I'm very, very adverse to gambling, whereas this one allows me to play a little bit. So this is kind of a fun challenge for me to get outside of my comfort zone.
Agreed. I have it's not my smaller account right now because I just put a lot of money into it. But
yeah,
I don't do it with half of the money in that account. But yeah, I have a retirement account that I call my diamond hands account, and I will never ever sell anything unless the rules tell me to sell it, and I won't buy anything unless the rules tell me to buy it. And that's turned out really well for me. But it's always fun to kind of degenerate a little bit of the money in fun, and obviously you want to research your plays, but which is one of the reasons that I found you. I was like, you put out a couple of DDs, and they're relatively thorough and quick and shockingly good in my opinion. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into the nightmare AI that I love.
Nightmare bot. All right. Other than those two mentors, did you have any resources that you tapped into, like books or YouTube channels or anything like that to learn, or was it really just from?
Yeah, YouTube was not really a great thing whenever I was starting out. I'm a little bit older. There were some great books. Obviously, there's like what is it? The Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I think he created one as well. Yeah, but they that one's like the Bible of value investing.
Yes, that was Warren Buffett called it that. That's why I said Warren Buffett.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Good read, and it's one of those things that kind of tells you. And one of my favorite quotes from it is, "The individual investor should act consistently as an investor and not as a speculator." And I just like that. It's, it goes over like timeless strategies and foundational insights, and it really like builds a strong foundation for your investing. And then another one that kind of helped me was Options as a strategic investment by, I can't think of his last name, but his first name's Lawrence. Gotcha. Look it up. It's a great one.
Yeah, I'll find it. And I'll put it in the description so people can find it.
Perfect. Yeah, but it talks about how options they're not an investment, but they can be used as a tool to protect or enhance other types of investments. So it's supplementary to your main investment strategy. So while they're very, very powerful, they are very powerful in both directions. So you need to be very careful of how you use those. For sure. And one of the things I see on the app a lot is very little hedging and with options, and very much YOLOing to get the maximum return, which is really like a small portion of the option story. So I think that's a great resource for people. What, if any, were some of the biggest challenges you had when you first got started with investing? Oh, emotions. Everybody starts out with that. You get in, you're like, I'm going to make fucking millions tomorrow. And you don't, and you lose everything. You're like, God, what happened? Where did I go wrong? It's the market's fault. And it's not. You didn't look at the trade. You didn't look at where the market was going. Where was the momentum? You didn't look at anything. You saw somebody go, fuck, I just made a lot of money off of Microsoft. You're like, me too. And then it goes down. So getting emotions out of the way, and that was the biggest thing for me, and the hardest thing for me, because I didn't come from a lot of money initially, and so I'm very, very tight with my money. I'm a penny pincher, and I don't like throwing it out there. And so when I lost money, it was very, very emotional for me. So one of the things that I did was I took the dollar sign out of it, and now I'm a very data-driven person. So now I move numbers, I don't move money. So there's no emotions tied to it for me. So if the numbers make sense to me, I buy. If they don't any longer, I sell. And that's how I look at it. It's just a numbers game for me now. And that helps me prevent emotions getting involved.
That's very interesting. I've never heard. I've heard get emotions out of it, but that particular kind of no dollar sign.
Yeah,
whatever you can do to kind of trick your brain to take the emotion out of it and just be data driven. That's a good one that I haven't heard before, so appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about the AfterHour community for a little bit before we get into your personal investment strategy. How did you discover AfterHour?
Yeah, funny story. So I was looking, since I am also creating a fintech company, I was looking at competition, and a lot of it was looking at a lot of these signal bots, and I'm not a huge fan of them, but they draw a crowd. And so looking at what, I liked and didn't like about them, and wasn't really impressed by a lot of them. Signals were generally delayed. Most of them seemed like Ponzi schemes. So wasn't really impressed. And so I kept looking, and obviously I'm on Reddit, who isn't? And I came across the, oh God, what is it?
Race to 10 million. Yeah.
Yeah, came across that one. Found it interesting. Didn't join the app. Obviously, speculative of it. So just kept watching other people kind of travel towards it and say good things about it. So I figured I'd give it a shot. And thankfully, I was impressed. It just kind of drew me into it. And I liked the idea of everybody having skin in the game, but also everybody having the same goal of reaching financial freedom and helping each other that way. It's a little bit different because you go on Reddit and everybody's there to watch you fail and laugh at it. Whereas in AfterHour, as long as you block the shitties, most of the people are there to help you. I've gotten amazing financial advice from there's this one guy named Terrified of AI. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's got great advice on taxes. I talk to Alloy in the Discord almost every day, and it's great to hear from people who have industry knowledge and tons more experience than I will ever have. I'm a businessman, so getting into actually day trading and stuff like that is fun. Side hobby for me, but it's not my main thing. And I'll go over to a lot more people later, but things like that just kind of that pulled me into it. I can get real financial advice from people who have done it for 30 years. You can't get that experience anywhere else.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your kind words, and at some point I will have an episode where Alloy doesn't come up, but it won't be this one. So,
I didn't mention him. I didn't mention him at all.
No, he's great. But I appreciate your kind words, and I'm drawn in for the same way, right? Like I said in the beginning, I'm not a day trader. I don't even have the ability to do 0 DTEs due to my role in my company. So I can't do that, but I find it wildly intriguing to see that and learn from it, and what can I learn from them, and how could I apply that to some of my stuff. So I'm here for the same reason, rather than I have all this planning experience, but that's not what the app's for. The app's for traders. So I feel like I can bring somewhat of a twist to it, just like I feel like you think you can. But the main thing is for trading, and it's fun to learn. And everyone's super nice, which is, like you said earlier, like the Reddit is everyone sees you fail. At least when I first joined, it was like, what is this? People are nice on the internet? People want to help other people on the internet? That's not normal, but it's been a great community for sure. In what ways has being part of AfterHour influence your investment strategy, if it has at all?
Yeah, so I honestly haven't been on the app for that long, so it hasn't really changed my core investing strategy, and we can get into that later. But what it has done is helped me step out of my comfort zone, which I haven't done for a while with trading, and look at other strategies. I'm very much a old dog, and it's hard to teach me new habits. So I've found something that has worked for me for many years. It's very safe. It's slow paced, but this one's a fun one. It's a fun challenge to actually challenge what I know and what I've learned over the years. It's a very, very small portion of my portfolio, so I'm not worried about it at all. But that's one thing that has influenced me greatly, is to it's okay to take a little bit of risk.
Awesome. We talked about a couple members of the community, but are there any other specific members that you feel like you've learned a lot from, or taken some of their strategies or content and applied it to what you're doing, or anything like that?
Yeah, so good question. I've mentioned Alloy. I mentioned you for, just general financial advice. I'm not going to say you're my financial advisor because you're not yet, but we'll talk about that later. But people like Alloy and Apple Bottom Jeans are commonly brought up because they have that industry knowledge that you won't get anywhere else. So tapping into that is priceless. Color of Clash before he left. I had some good conversations with him, and looking to carry that over into Discord a little bit more. But tons of knowledge from him. One of the greatest things he ever said was invest in yourself, and I fully believe in that.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of my money is not going to be made trading. It's not. That's not where my skills are, and I know that. I'm a businessman. What I do is I create businesses. And so while I'm having fun with this, and I do dedicate a lot of time to it, that's not where the bulk of my time is going to be, and that's not where the bulk of my money is going to be made. So I love that he also realizes that and was able to take a step back from the app for a little bit. I hope to God he comes back, because I think he's a great resource for the app.
I think he will. I think he will for sure.
Yeah.
But it is. It tells a big story that he's taking a step back to work on himself, because he was kind of drawn into things he didn't want to do. So I think that's a good thing people can learn from.
And there's some people that do some good signals that I like to watch. Never Pull Over is one that does some really good signals. Okay, I got to mention this guy. I don't understand his signaling or his DD or anything really that he posts. Dick.
Dude, oh my God.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I need to find where his secret sauce comes from, because it doesn't make any sense. But he is right almost every time.
He just laughs about it. His DDs are just laughs, and it blows my mind, but it's right.
Yeah, and then I try to look into the company. I was like, what did he see to get to this point?
I don't ever see it. Yeah. I think I've caught one with him where I was like, oh, yeah, I'm on that one too. And everything else is like, just blew my mind. So he's one that I follow just for shits and giggles. I obviously always recommend doing your own DD afterwards. For sure. But if you believe in his laughs, then they're pretty good laughs.
It's entertaining, and I feel like he almost uses AI, and he's like programmed in AI to write the posts like that, because they're the same kind of tone every time, and it really is hysterical every time. And it's like, you can't learn anything from what he posts. It's
Not
really,
at all.
It's really just buy it now or miss out. And he's been so accurate that it's like, gotta figure out what he's doing to screen for some of these.
Yeah. So those are some of the other ones. I mean, there's like some of the whales that I follow just because, money makes money. So, you got to see what they did. There's some that I don't understand and I've blocked because I just don't understand how they made their money. I think they fell upwards, but
that happens.
Everybody's journey is different. And you just kind of find the people you like and follow, but those are just some of the ones that I like.
For sure. What is if you could point to one of the most memorable discussions or experiences you've had in the community? I have mine that I have told all the time. So,
honestly, mine's been chopping up with you lately. The going back and forth about sticking it to the IRS has really been fun for me.
I do have fun with our little exchanges on the app for sure.
Yeah, it's been great. And really, that's one of the main reasons that I'm still here, is just chopping up with you has been fun. And some of the other people, just good conversations. I feel like, I've created this DD bot that's my version of giving back to the community, but that's what I'm here for.
Perfect. I thought you were
to take what I can and give back.
Exactly. I thought your kind of play on words post the other day, I literally was fascinated by it, because I thought they all fit pretty well. Yeah, I thought it was great. So I'll probably put that.
It took me longer than I like to admit.
I thought it was great. I loved every minute of it. And for people joining the app, because there's been a ton of influx in, I would say, the past 3 weeks, that the app seems to have just exploded, which they're trying to figure out how to deal with that influx of people. But for the new people, what would you say is the biggest benefit of being part of the community?
Biggest benefit? I think it could also be the biggest deterrent is just the wealth of knowledge that is thrown around every day there. There's just so many people that have so much experience to share, and they're willing to share, that I think that is easily the best best benefit of the app is just the knowledge transfer that's available there. I can see how it could be overwhelming. So if you're somebody new, don't be afraid to ask questions. Somebody's going to answer in a dick way, block them. You won't have to worry about them again. But you'll get 15 other answers that are accurate. They're really trying to help you. 9 times out of 10, you'll ask a question and they'll ask you 10 back, trying to help you in a very specific way. You're not going to get that anywhere else unless you pay a ton of money. So ask questions and tap into that wealth of knowledge.
Perfect. I agree 100%. All right. This will maybe go longer than I pinned for, but I think it'll be a good conversation and learn more about kind of what you're bringing to the app. So I'm just going to kind of open the floor. Tell me about this AI DD nightmare bot that you've created that at least I'm on its good side, so I'm safe.
Yeah, no, you're good. It actually likes you for some reason. It spared you in some question earlier. I don't know why, but no, it's honestly, I put it together because everybody was looking, when I first joined, everybody was looking for a bunch of information. And I kept seeing, where's your due diligence? Where's your due diligence? Where's your facts on this? And I just saw a gap where people weren't able to have it readily available. I'm already building, as a side project, my own AI and machine learning platform. So really all I'm tapping into for my DD bot isn't really much AI or much machine learning or anything like that. All of the metrics are pulled by an API from Charles Schwab, the broker. I've got a developer license with them. So all of the metrics, the hard numbers are pulled from that. All of the actual information is pulled through a slew of RSS feeds, scraping your major social media sites, your major news outlets. And then I have AI basically just summarize it and put it up in nice little bullet points for me. Once the AfterHour app has some API built into it, fingers crossed, yes, I'm pushing that. I can automate a lot of it and just have people just basically request a DD, and I can automate and post one in a matter of seconds rather than the 20 minutes that it takes me now to manually type it out.
Good God. That would be awesome, just because I feel like there is a lot of signaling for, especially recently, penny stocks, which I hope we get a little bit away from. But it would be a great way for someone either newer or someone sees something. I mean, I asked you to do one, I think a couple weeks ago, I think for Dick, specifically that account, where I was like, what's your AI bot think of this? Because I've never heard of the company, and he's so cryptic with what he says. It's just about this. So I think that would be an amazing resource if that was available to people on AfterHour.
Yeah, I've created a Discord bot right now, and that's how I do it so quickly right now is basically I just tell my Discord bot what the current price is and what the stock ticker is, and it just runs through and does everything for me. So I've got it set up where it's really quick and automated, but if I get an API into the app, I can put it into the app itself.
That would be very cool, I think. Do you want to talk more about what else you're working on from a fintech business? You don't have to. I just wanted to open it up for you to talk about what you want to.
Yeah, no, I won't put it in the app itself because I don't feel like it's right for me to advertise my bot inside of their business. But since we're outside of that here, my company's called Stocksmate. And it, while it does have some signaling, that's not the main part of it, and it's not even really a large function of it. It's a light signal where it is looking more for leading the trader into the right industries to trade into. The bulk of it is actually the machine learning part of it. And what that does is the app is basically providing users with actionable stock market insights and analyzing their trade behavior to offer more personalized improvements, basically. So I want to allow the user to trade normally, and basically through the Plaid third-party integration, I can monitor what their trades are, and that's the same integration that AfterHours has, so it's secure. And based on how often they want the feedback, I can give them, real-time updates and tips. I can give them daily reviews on how they did each day, weekly, monthly, whatever their preference is. I can give them reports, and then I can automate that out to their email if they don't even want to go into my app. So it's less about signaling and all of that, and it's more about trying to educate the trader. Obviously, there are some paid benefits because I have to be able to function and pay for the AI infrastructure.
Yeah, there's a lot of data there that you're pulling from. So
yeah, it's not cheap, but I make enough in my other industries that I'm not too worried about this yet. And it's more of just kind of in line with what AfterHours is doing and trying to help other people. And I feel like I make enough in my other industry that I want to now start giving back. And this is just one area that I feel like I can.
Mm-hmm. So,
will I make money? Yes. I'm not going to shy away from saying that, but it's not my main focus of this app. It's more of a community-driven app.
Gotcha. So just to make sure I'm understanding, it will look at trading behavior rather than kind of stocks and give feedback on that. So for example, if they set up or did not set any stop loss, it might give feedback on that. Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah, exactly. It'll look at basically when they enter a trade, when they exit a trade, did they enter at the right time? It'll kind of give you, and over time, it'll learn how you behave and continue saying, hey, look, this is a continued trend over the last 3 years. You get in way too early and you're missing out on 5%, 10%. And it'll tell you like how much you're missing out on based off of, are you entering too early? Are you exiting too soon? And so it really analyzes like how to optimize your trading based off of your trading strategy. So if you're a swing trader, if you're just an options trader, you can define that in the app itself, and it will give you personalized recommendations based on how you want to trade. Or do you want to YOLO every 3 seconds? Sure. I will try to help you with that. My bot will 100% every time say, you're dumb. But, if that's the way you want to trade, I'll try to help you as much as possible.
I feel like that is a fantastic idea. I don't really know what other way to put it, but I think everyone's always looking at ways to improve their trading, and there's so much information out there that they don't even know what is accurate.
Yeah, I don't want to be a signal bot. That's not what I want to do. That's a Ponzi scheme. You're always going to be behind. Signals are always delayed. If you're not actively in front of your computer looking at the charts and the movement and the everything that's going on, you're going to be delayed anyways, and you're missing out. So why not let you do what you do, and I'll just tell you how to do it better.
Very cool. We kind of talked about pretty much. My next question was going to be, what are your goals for it? But I think we talked about that. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about this kind of project that you're working on?
No, I'm in a closed beta right now. I'm going to open it up February 11th, my birthday. Woot. I'm going to open it up to a more open beta then. And I'll probably advertise not in AfterHours, but
around
outside of that. Yeah. Because as I said, I don't want to interfere with their business. That's not right. So, yeah, but that's when I'm planning on opening it up.
Very cool.
There's ways to gamify it as well. So I'll have like leaderboards and stuff like that for like most improved, top gains in like a week, those kind of things. So it'll push some user engagement in the app further, but we'll see how that comes out. I don't want to. I don't want to push it where I'll use an example. Crypto.com. Or sorry, it's not Crypto.com. What is?
Is it Coinbase?
I'm looking it up right now because I fear Ember. That's what it is.
Oh,
so yeah, Ember has these little fucking games in there where you can straight up gamble away your sats, and that's kind of where I don't want the coins in AfterHour to go, because I feel like that's pushing gambling. I feel like they need to be used for pushing better content. So I don't want to see that into my app. So I'm seeing how it goes with AfterHour first, honestly.
I don't blame you. I think it could have gone great. I think 100,000 was too much to give for a referral, because it made what was supposed to be a finite amount of coins to push content you felt like was good nearly infinite, right? I mean, they eventually will go away, but it, at least in the short term, ruined the coin system like right away.
I think that they're headed in the right direction with it, and I've kind of talked to them a little bit about where they're going. Was lucky enough to get into the beta, so I've gotten some insight into the direction. I think they're headed in the right direction, but still cautiously optimistic, I'll say that.
Perfect. All right. Well, I want to talk now about your investment philosophy and strategy. And I think this is really the core of what a lot of people will want to hear about too. How would you describe your investment strategy or philosophy in your own words?
Same way as I operate my business. The KISS methodology: keep it simple, stupid. And I feel like that's probably the easiest way, most dumbest way to go into an investment, but it works. Don't look too much into it. You'll get overwhelmed if you're not, a chart reader. You can practice, and you should. But don't get too in the weeds on everything. I'm a swing trader right now, and it's really easy. I'll pull RXRX out because that's an AfterHour favorite. There's a channel right now that's very easy to see. It's very well defined. It's somewhere around the low sixes. I'd say probably around 630, and then in a couple days it moves up to mid sevens, sometimes up into 8. And that's really easy. I've pulled that swing off. I'm now going on my 7th trip up the elevator in the past 3 months. So that's a really easy one, and that's what I look at. I just look for really easy swings with my current strategy for the portfolio that's linked.
For the challenge
account. For the challenge account. For my personal strategy, it's very boring. I am like a turtle. 90% of my money is locked up in some boring stuff. I like to keep it slow. I'm a dividend player. I'm all about compounding and just letting that earn its money. Like I said before, I earn more money outside of the market, so all I do is throw money into my safe portfolios and just let it auto ride. So I would say probably 40% of my safe portfolios are in really safe indexes, nothing crazy going on there. And then I would say 20% would be around new industries that are up and coming. So right now I'm looking at nuclear energy. AI is still a buzzword. It's been around forever, but everybody loves it. Robotics right now. So Robo is an ETF that I don't have to invest in any individual company. I can invest in basically just the bulk of them. So it gives me some exposure there. Nuclear energy, like I said, URA is one. It's global uranium ETF. That's a pretty safe one to get into. Rising demand, and that's going to keep going up with the rise of AI, quantum computing, the need for the power to fill that gap is going to be there. One specific that I am invested in heavily is SEG, CEG, Constellation Energy.
God, you've made
they are, they're a U.S.-based nuclear energy provider. I've been in with them for a couple of years now, and it's something that's it's always going to be needed, and they're going to be, because they're U.S.-based, and there's a huge drive for clean energy growth in that realm. They're going to be around, and they're going to make a ton of money.
I think that was the number 3 performer in the S&P 500 last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it really? That's nice. I don't know these. I don't know these facts. I mean, I'm not.
It's because I need to know these stupid facts. I have someone that I work with, that not a client of mine, who worked for them, and he got restricted stock units, and it was like he got what he got awarded was substantially different than what it was when it vested, which just caused huge tax problems for him. But there's not much you can do there, but good problems to have. But it was crazy to watch. So I'm very up to date on Constellation.
Yeah, I got lucky with Microsoft when I worked there. I got some RSUs from there that were a great entry price. Yeah,
completely. I love them. I think they're a great incentive comp tool for sure.
100%. Yeah. So I've eaten up plenty of companies for that one along my way before I created my own company. And that's another way. Like if you jump into a company, make sure you take advantage of every benefit they have. If they have RSUs, if they have 401k matching, take advantage of it. It's great.
Free money.
Sorry, I derailed. I derailed. But yeah, so 40% defensive in my long-term strategies. iShares core bonds, AGG is a big one. Vanguard, dividend, VIG is one. And then 40% in future trends, AI, space is a big one as well. I'm exploring that. I don't know much about that one yet. I know there's some big players in there. I don't want to throw them out because I don't know myself well enough into that to throw some names out there. But yeah, those are some big ones. And then broad diversification. So you need I've got 20% split, or I guess 10% in SPY, and then 10% in cash reserve for opportunities if I see them.
Cash is a position.
It is, and sometimes it's the safest one when there's a lot of volatility.
For sure. And just for the listeners, what percentage of your money is in retirement accounts, tax advantage accounts, versus brokerage accounts that have regular capital gain assignments to them?
I would say at least 80% is in tax advantage accounts.
Tax advantage accounts. Okay, it just helps frame the context of investments.
100%. I'm a very boring investor, and I play it very, very safe.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, how do you balance the kind of short-term opportunities that come with the market, like you said, swing trading, versus other long-term goals that you have for investing? Because recently, short-term swing trading has done really well.
It has, yeah. It's honestly, it's a great question, and I don't think of investing, like I said before, just in the market. So I'll say long-term investments. I think more on the business side. I'm looking to potentially IPO my cybersecurity company in the next 2 years. So that's a big, what I would consider long-term, 2 years. That's a big investment that I'm focused on right now and spending a lot of time on. The other big one is I do a little bit of real estate, and it's a long man's game, and I'm terrified to see how we're going. But hopefully everything works out. But that's kind of what I think of long term, is less in the market. But I really don't look at my long term investments in the market that often. Short term investments, I think about going back to the business side, the app launching that business. So I'm looking to hopefully in the next year make that profitable. My wife also has a yoga studio that we've started. Somehow that's profitable. So I still think about that. We started that 6 months ago.
Sorry, what is it? It came through.
Sorry, as a yoga studio.
Yoga studio, okay.
Yeah. So she's really big into yoga and holistic health and all of that. So that's where I get my zen in the morning from, is my wife, and then the market wrecks everything, and then at the end of the day she helps me again.
There you go.
And then even shorter term with like swing trading, I mentioned RX. RX is a really easy one. Somebody mentioned one earlier today in the app that I haven't looked at yet in depth, but it was, I think, CEAD. But I looked at the 1 month, and it seems like almost every other day they go from like $7 to $8 to $7 to $8. So I'm going to look into that one. But that's a fun one for me. That's.
I know you mentioned Odd too, a little while back. I think that one. I looked at its chart recently, and same kind of swingy deals. It's trending slightly upward, but it's like all over the place within a very specific range. So
yeah, and that's fun for me. That's something that's new for me in my trading portfolio is actually looking for those hardcore swing trades. And so that's kind of exciting for me, and that's something that's been fun with AfterHour too. Is finding out that I don't have to gamble. I can do it in a smart way and see those short term gains to fill that need in a smart way.
Very cool. Last question I have about your investment philosophy is more about how it's evolved over time. So what are some of the major changes that you've had in your approach from kind of the beginning when you started to investing to where you are today?
Yeah, so I mentioned in the beginning I did those YOLOs, and you quickly get humbled. The market doesn't care about you at all, not even a little bit. You think it's on your side, it just rug pulls you. So that was, a humbling experience. I did that for probably year and a half and wasted way more money than I would like to throw out there. And then after that, it was a slow build back. And so, just one of those constant reminders that while you can chase those, 100, 200, 300% gains every day, you're going to waste 5,000% trying. And so that's been the hardest change for me, is just not going back. It's easy for me to come up with new strategies and fine tune things. That's what I do in my business, is adjust to how the cybersecurity world changes. So coming up with new strategies, new plans, and adjusting is something I'm familiar with, but not going backwards is the hardest thing as an investor that you have to prevent. And I don't know if I answered that well or just rambled, but I said things.
You said things, and I think there's good, actionable advice that people can learn from. So I think it's great. I have one question now that we've kind of gotten to the end of this part that I think is timely about quantum, and I think maybe you have a unique view on it being in cybersecurity. What are your thoughts about quantum computing?
Yeah, I actually, I'm gonna catch a lot of flack on this. I actually disagree with what Jensen said. I think we are there. I think we're here. I think practical application in a commercial setting is probably 2-3 years away. But I don't think we're 5, 10 years? Is that what he said?
I think he said 10.
10 years?
Well, I think he said 10, and then the CFO said 20. Something
yeah, they're hoping to get good prices in. That's what they're doing.
See, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, I think we're there. I mean, even Microsoft, I think yesterday announced some things that they're shifting some stuff into quantum computing, and so I mean, we're there. We're 100% there. If you're not investing now in it, you're going to be left behind. Make sure you're getting a good entry. Don't just buy because somebody said buy. Make sure you're getting a good entry. Know what is a good entry. Do your research. A lot of them are up and kind of slightly down. So look at it. Don't just say, they went down 30% in the past 3 days, 4 days. Everything did. So do your due diligence and really look into it. But I think quantum computing is here. I think they're trying to downplay it a little bit so that there's not so much of an eye on it and a need for continuous updates on it, because it's still going to be a slow go. But I think we're 2 to 3 years away from it being more of a commercial application.
Very cool. I appreciate the insight that you have that most people probably won't have and can't speak to. So appreciate that for sure.
Of course.
To wrap up, just wanted to spend some time on maybe pointing people new to investing in the right direction. What do you think is the most common mistake that new investors make?
The single most common one would have to be fear of missing out, FOMO. They see all of these people make all of these incredible gains on these social media apps, not realizing that that's one of 50 failed attempts. So they try it as well, and they miss out on that 200% gain that they saw. So they're just going to let it ride. They see 20% and they're like, not enough. What's 20%? This guy got 200. I can do that. I can get 2,000.
I wish I had that problem. I sell way too early all the time. I'm like, 10%, like time to sell.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest one, is that they just miss out, and then they overextend themselves because they want that 200% gain. And so they chase the same thing that the other person made 200% on, and then they see it go the other way and they don't quite understand. So I think that's kind of a twofold answer. One, they fear of missing out, and two, they just blindly follow people into trades. And I think that's kind of goes hand in hand. They may be separate ones, and I can go on a tangent on both, but I think that's the most common mistake, because they just fear that they're going to miss something, so they just blindly jump in.
Awesome. Any tools or resources or habits you'd recommend for newer investors to kind of improve their strategies?
Yeah. Man, I cannot push AI enough. I know you hate me for that.
No, I honestly, AI's current state, where it's basically, I mean, I'm a super novice, right? So feel free to correct me. But my understanding is that it's just a language model with access to a ridiculous amount of data, and it basically is like, it's like text predicting that you have on your phone times a billion.
Yeah.
And I'm not scared of that. It's more, if that ever becomes kind of sentient, is where my fear comes from. So I have no problem with AI in its current state.
Yeah, we can take the sentient thing offline sometime.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Between you, Fullport, and Alloy, I'm never going to sleep again.
Oh yeah, I've had some fun ones with them. Yeah. I would say AI is easily the best tool. If you don't understand something, screenshot it, upload it. Like ChatGPT is an easy example. Screenshot it, send it up there, and say, "Explain this to me," and it will. It will explain it to you. Ask it questions. I made a post the other day about how to best interact with it, have a conversation with it. Say, "I don't quite understand this. I'm kind of new." Literally, just type it out like you're having a conversation with it, and then tell it how you would like for it to respond, and it will. So just, there's a lot of other things, and I could go on forever about AI, but AI is your best tool. Leverage your brokerage tools as well. I use Fidelity mostly. I don't think it's the best tool out there, but they've got a desktop tool called Active Trader Pro. It's customizable enough that I can have all of my news feeds off to my left, all of my charts in the middle, all of my bids, all of my activity, looking at futures, everything on my right. And I can customize it enough that I know exactly where to look. If I want to day trade, I have a day trading screen that I saved, or a layout rather, and then they'll let me, change it accordingly. So leverage your broker's tool as much as possible. There's a lot of other good ones out there as well. And then habits. I made a post about getting in the trader's mindset every day. Fully recommend reading that and then applying it to how it fits your lifestyle. But definitely don't be afraid to go outside, touch grass for a little bit, breathe the fresh air, and come back inside if you need to take a breather. The mental stress of trading is pretty intense, so don't fear walking away if you need to.
Yeah, the market will be there when you get back.
It will, and
if it's not, you have much bigger problems. So.
Oh, yeah. If it's not, okay, that's a side conversation.
And just to add one more kind of piece of context, and maybe you can add any context onto what I'm about to say if you feel like it needs it. But oftentimes you can ask ChatGPT at least to double check its work. At least for some of the stuff I do, I'm very dyslexic, which I've learned to overcome, but I run pretty much every post that I have through ChatGPT to check it for errors, because I will not find them on my own very often, like spelling or grammatical errors. And it will take what I said and change the information to be wrong information, because things get updated every year and codes get fixed. So I think you should always double check and ask ChatGPT to double check its work. And also, I started using one of the things that you recommended, which was tell it to run an internet search to double check its stuff. And that has been super helpful for me, because when it does that, it usually recorrects itself at least 8 times out of 10. I still need to correct it sometimes, but I think it can be a really good tool. But I would caution people, don't just take it at its word the first time.
Not at all. Yeah, I like to tell the story of my brother's a lawyer, and he had a guy go into a trial, very confident, well-respected lawyer, and he came in and he gave an incredible speech and gave a ton of examples. And my brother, thankfully, is well-versed and didn't know any of these other cases that this lawyer was referencing. So he asked the lawyer to provide the examples to him and the judge. And so the lawyer went up there to the judge and presented his evidence, what cases he referred to. And so they looked it up in chambers behind doors, and came out that none of those cases existed. They were all fake cases made up by an AI tool that he was using. It wasn't a major one, it was an internal tool, but they was just made up, and all of the examples, everything was made up. So clearly he lost, and then to go beyond that, he got disbarred for doing that. So 100% make sure you're fact checking yourself. AI is very, very powerful. It's also very fucking stupid. So make sure you're reading over everything. Have it check itself. If you're not confident in what it's telling you, copy it, put it back in there, and tell it to fact check itself. It will. It'll tell itself it's wrong sometimes. You just mentioned the script at the very end, do a web search and then respond, forces it to go out and look at information, not just looking at the information it's already got stored. So little tricks like that, I could go on forever, but that's definitely good advice. Fact check it.
Awesome. Cool. I know you can speak to that more than me, so I just wanted to get your input there.
Yeah, I love AI.
What is the best piece of investment advice that you've ever received?
Don't trust anybody else. You can get a ton of knowledge from everybody else. Tons of knowledge. Don't blindly trust anybody. There's a common saying that if anything is free, or if something great is free, then you're the product, or something like that. I can't remember what the exact quote is. But realize that, outside of AfterHour, it's a weird anomaly. If somebody is giving you free advice, they're taking you for something. So look at it, do your own research, do your own due diligence. Even the things that I post, I love when people question me and fact check me, because I want to improve and I want to get better. So definitely make sure that you're not blindly following anybody ever for anything.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a CPA by any means, and I love when CPAs come in and give their input on some of the stuff that I do. I mean, I'm very confident in what I talk about, but I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax attorney. I just have years of experience navigating different financial planning aspects and tax code and how that works with businesses. So, but always love when people comment and tell me I'm wrong, because I would not have known I was wrong unless someone either told me or was able to provide me with some piece of information that I didn't have before. So trust but verify is the 100%. It's kind of how I operate. Is like, if you read a post that I have, for example, I want you to go do your own research. But what I found is most people don't know what questions to ask, which is kind of how I pose the content that I put out there. Is just, well, what questions do I run into all the time that no one would really know to ask? I mean, it happens all the time. You can ask ChatGPT, how do I create financial planning things? And you'll get a lot of basic information, but then when you try to just drill down into your specific situation, it's just, there's too much out there to know exactly what to ask. So trust but verify. So I completely agree there.
That you mentioned having it ask questions. That's one thing that I love about how I've set up my ChatGPT is at the very end, you can customize it in certain ways in the settings. But I have it asking me 3 questions at the end of every single prompt, as if these are questions that I should be asking. And that's really helped me refine how I use the tool, is I have it ask itself what I should be asking it. So that's another little tip there too. You can ask it to
blowing my mind.
Yeah, at the end of every single prompt, it will ask me 3 questions, and I can either say, answer all 3, answer 1, 2, whatever, and then it'll just recompile everything with all of the new information for me. So I'll add some prompts if you want to add that in the description. That'll kind of help customize some things.
Sure.
I'll say ChatGPT on this one because I think that's most widely used with most people in AfterHour.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that would be great. I mean, I would be wildly interested in attending any kind of, I know you mentioned in previous posts, potentially doing a mini workshop on how to inquire things with AI, but I think people just don't know how to use the tool yet. So anyone who has good experience with that, I think, would be very helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share? I don't have any more interview questions for you.
don't be afraid to ask questions and ask for help in life. I have gotten some of the best help and best advice ever just asking a simple question that I was afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, no stupid questions.
Yeah, they're stupid people, but not stupid questions.
Perfect. All right, so I do have rapid fire questions that I end each interview with.
Okay, let's go.
What is your favorite song?
Ooh, Favorite song right now is probably I Want to Dance with Somebody by Connor Maynard. YouTube singer, incredible voice, very soothing. I like to listen to that kind of stuff in the background if it's not like a lo-fi loft kind of thing when I'm working.
Gotcha. I know who that is, so
Oh,
nice. I don't know the song, but I know the name. So I'll have to.
It's a cover, but he does great covers.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it. If there's, let's say you're flipping through the channels, what movie would come on that you physically can't go to the next channel? You have to finish the movie.
Oh man. Ooh. Okay, I've got two. Boondock Saints is one that if it's on, I don't care who's in my house, we're watching it. And then Pulp Fiction is just another cult classic that I can't put down.
Awesome. If you could spend the day with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
I'll get sentimental on this one. My stepdad passed away in a car wreck when I was 15. I would love to have another day with him.
I love that answer. Do you have a favorite quote? I know a lot of people don't, but if you have one, what is it and why?
It's my philosophy. Keep it simple, stupid. It's literally it. It's don't overthink things. Typically, you'll think yourselves in a circle. Keep it simple. You can refine the strategy as you go through. Just don't overthink it in the beginning, and you'll find your way.
Awesome. And if you had to make one high conviction investment right now, this is not financial advice, but with what we look at every day, if you had one high conviction play, what do you think it would be for the next kind of this year?
This year? So I've made my decision earlier that I think Alibaba is going to rally. Everybody's worried about what Trump is saying on China and the tariffs and everything like that. I think much like his 2016 rhetoric, he talks a big game in the beginning, but is quick to be a good businessman and strike deals. So I think while there's a lot of fear right now around those stocks, I think it's a good time to buy in, and I think that they will rally. If not that one, I'm going to go with Advanced Money Destroyer, and we'll start calling it Advanced Money Depositor with AMD.
God, I hope so.
Same.
It's in my rules-based account, and it's basically been bag held because I won't sell it unless it falls off my rules. But God, I hope it turns around.
Yeah, same here.
And I think the China one's an interesting one. I was listening to someone speak, and if you listen to Trump closely, he has kind of shifted away from tariffs on China. And if you listen to him talk, he's talking more about tariffs on Mexico and Canada now than he is really about China.
Yeah, I did a post on that as well, and it kind of compares the two, and there's a lot of similarities. And they've got the bromance going on too, so I don't think that either of them are really going to try to come at each other's throat. I think they're both businessmen in the end, and I think that they'll come to some sort of an agreement, and I think that those stocks will rally. So that's just kind of where I see the current sentiment versus where it'll probably shift.
Awesome. Well, I I could literally talk to a bunch of AfterHour members literally all night. And I have in the Discord before.
Yeah.
But I think we got to wrap this one up. So I really appreciate your time
Same.
for this
Appreciate
interview.
you. This is great.
Yeah, I think people will learn a lot. And looking forward to getting this up for people to see.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you so much, man.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who listened in to the end. If there's anyone left here, thanks for tuning in, and look out for the next one.